Alright guys, welcome back to another Opera Omnia video where we are going to be talking about Force Level 50 and the new retain mechanic that drops alongside with Force Level 50 passives. Now, this is basically hinted by a bunch of numerous things that have been happening throughout this month, and because our next community live stream is going to be this Thursday as I am recording this video, a lot of us feel pretty confident that this is going to be the next thing that is going to be dropping to global default. So of course, to stay ahead of everything, and if this actually does become a thing and it does get released onto global, I'm going to go ahead and release this video so that way global players, you know what you are going to get yourself into, so that way you are prepared for what's to come with Force Level 50 passives and the new retain mechanic. So if you have any questions related to anything that we are going to be covering in this video, feel free to comment down in the comment section below, and I will make sure to reply to your comment as quickly as possible. And of course, if you guys do enjoy the video, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe for future content. And with all that being said, let's go ahead and start off with Force Level 50. What is it? So Force Level 50 allows your character to gain access to new Force Level passives. Some of these passives include Brave damage cap up and HP damage cap up increases, Force gauge charge rate up increases, and additional HP damage bonus percentage increases. Now Force Level 50 also introduces a new HP damage bonus retain mechanic, which allows you to hold on to a certain amount of HP damage bonus percentage after your force time is over. Now, this slide basically just states the most important passives that you need to know between level 30 to level 50. Now, this will kind of give you a general idea, especially for those who are tight on either force fragments, force stones, and or enhancement points. This slide is going to be for you because this will kind of give you a pretty good idea as to which passives you should really be going for. But I will talk about that more on the next slide. So Force passives 33 and 43 gives you each a 15% force gauge charge rate up, meaning that you are going to be able to charge up your force gauge much faster. For Force Level 35 and 45 gives you each a 20% Brave damage cap up increase once you reach greater than or equal to 50% on your force gauge. Now passives 40 and 50 gives you each a 10% HP damage cap up increase once you reach greater than or equal to 50% on your force gauge. Now one thing to know is that this applies to the character who has Force Level 50 unlocked, and if you decide to jump from 30 to 50, this is pretty much like the main things that you are going to be getting out of that character. Now the other thing when it comes to passives 40 and 50, which is going to be related to the retain mechanic that we'll go over in this video as well, is that these two passives also allows the party to retain 3% of the HP damage bonus percentage after the force time ends. And finally, Force Level passive 38 and 48. After your own turn, each adds 1% to the HP damage bonus percentage at the end of your turn. Now, how much is it to force level a character up to 50? So, if you are starting off at Force Level 0 up to 50, it is going to cost you 140 force fragments or 7 FR stones and 25,000 enhancement points. Yeah, that is a very big amount. But if you already have a character at Force Level 50 and you want to get them to Force Level, if you have a character that has that is currently at Force Level 30 and you wanted to get him to 50, then it is going to cost you 80 force fragments or 4 force stones and 10,000 enhancement points. Now, some additional info related to this. So after the first banners with Force level 50 units drop to global, all characters featured on those banners and future banners will have their Force level 50 unlocked regardless if they are the main featured units or the side units for whatever banners gets dropped for said event. Now, you don't have to Force level 50 every single character that has the ability to Force level 50. This was a mistake that I did on my end on the JP side whenever characters would be getting their new weapons or any newer characters would drop. Like, I went a little too happy with spending my Force mats. And because of that, I am running a little bit tight currently right now because of the amount of Force level 50 characters that I have. So, because of that, I would recommend players to prioritize characters that you use often, that you see yourself using a very good amount whenever they do get their Force level 50s, or are going to be planning to pull for said characters in future banners, or just max out certain characters in each category like Force Chargers, strong supports, strong DPS, etc., etc. It is not necessary to do them immediately, but it will help for future fights like Memorial Battle. Now, Global should, in quotations, be increasing the amount of mats needed to Force level 50 units, meaning that on the JP side, what they did is that they increased the amount of Force fragments that we would receive whenever, like, we would do, I do believe this applies to co-op, and or it applies to whatever or whenever we fully complete an event, a Shinryu fight, and you collect all of your goodies from the mission tabs. Again, they should be increasing it. I can't tell you how much the amount that it was that they increased it to. I cannot remember, and I'd rather not throw a number out there and be incorrect, but just note that Global should be doing the same thing as JP, and they should be increasing the amount of Force fragments that players should be getting. Now, let's talk about the retain mechanic. So this new mechanic will allow you to retain or carry over a percentage from the last Force time that you was in. Now, here is a formula used to know how much you'll retain based on the Force levels each character has. Now, one thing to know is that you do not need everybody to be at Force level 50 to be able to access this retain mechanic. Or you can easily use characters that are Force level 30 and you'll still be fine. You'll still be able to take advantage of this new retain mechanic. So long as you have characters on your team that have at the minimum 30, and then of course the higher that you go, the more that you are going to be retaining, the better it is for you in the long run. So this is a formula that was used, that was shown to us during the OPOP burst when JP got this retain mechanic. So to start off, basically, the final HP damage bonus percentage before the Force times ends, you subtract 100 and then you multiply it by 27. Now, the 27 comes from 3 characters who are at Force level 50. So Force levels every 10 times 3%. So each one, for each character that are Force level 30, each of them are going to be providing 9%, which is a total of 27%. So after you do the math, you will get the retain HP damage bonus percentage plus 100. I know this sounds confusing. Don't worry. I have simplified it for you guys. Give me just a second. So for example, 999% was the final HP damage bonus that we had before our Force time ended. Now we subtract 100, now we are at 899. We multiply by 27% because, for example, we are for this example, we are using 3 Force level 30 units. We get 242.73, or we just round it up to 243. Then we add 100% and our rollover HP damage bonus percentage, or which is what I used to call it, but now I call it the retain HP damage bonus percentage, is going to be at 343. Now, one thing to know, which I should have included in this video, but you more than likely will probably see it on the thumbnail on this video, is that you will know that you are in the what do you call it, in, I guess, like the retained HP damage bonus, when you notice that the percentage is not gold text anymore. It is going to be silver text. That is the indication that you are now using the retained HP damage bonus percentage until you activate another force time. Now, again, like I mentioned not too long ago, I got you guys when it comes to basically like avoiding all of the math that you just saw on the screen. So these percentages are going to be based on 999% of the HP damage bonus whenever the force time has ended. So for 3 characters on the field with force level 30, once a retain mechanic kicks in, you should be starting off at 343. If you have 2 characters at force level 30 plus 1 character at force level 50, you should be retaining 397%. Now, if you have 1 character at force level 30 and 2 characters at force level 50, you should be retaining 451%. And then finally, for 3 characters at force level 50, you should be retaining 505%. Now, if you enter force time again, instead of starting off at the start of a normal force time percentage, whether it be 120, 150, 180, whatever it is, you are going to start off at the retained HP damage bonus percentage amount. So if you start another force time after you have already done a force time and you already have a retained percentage, then you are going to start off at that percentage. So for example, if you are retaining 505%, activate force time again, you are gonna start off at 505%. Now finally, some additional info for the retain mechanic. It is a neat way to be able to use old characters and have a little fun while hardly worrying about wasting your actual force time. Like, because of this retain mechanic, it has allowed a lot of JP players, including myself, to actually mess around with old units. And even if we lose out on, or if we finish a force time, as long as we keep 1, depending on what the retain percentage is going to be, like by the time we are able to use our force time again, like you more than likely probably have the enemy's HP to basically like very little to dead, or you more than likely, there is a possibility where you probably knocked out the enemy while you had the retained percentage. So it is a neat way to be able to mess around with old characters. Now, this retain mechanic will be helpful for the upcoming memorial battles whenever it drops the global, due to the bosses having almost or over 1 billion in HP. Yes, these fights can potentially be very long because of the fact that these bosses have a crap ton of HP. So this retain mechanic is definitely going to help our players, so that way you won't feel overwhelmed at the fact that you're doing doo-doo damage, but because you have that retained percentage, you're not going to be doing doo-doo damage. You're actually going to be doing some damage until you activate another force time. Or if you kill the boss, that works too. And then finally, for 6 warrior quests or 6-man fights, unless changed in the future, the retain percentage will only apply for those currently on the field, pretty much the main team that is looking at the boss right there and then. So yeah, guys, that's pretty much it. I do believe I have covered every single thing related to the retain mechanic and to force level 50. Again, if you do have any questions, feel free to let me know down in the comment section below, and I will do my very best to reply to them as quickly as possible. But other than that, though, that's going to be it for the video. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, do all that good stuff. I'll catch you guys in the next one.